You live in America 22 years, so what Americans know and what do they think about Ukraine, like persecutes and Orthodox Russian Church? What Americans know about it?
Okay, so people in the United States know about Russian Orthodox Church from iconography, beautiful iconography, candles, beautiful churches. They're not much aware of what happened since 1917. So in 1917, we know that the truth about Orthodox Church, that many priests, nuns, religious people were destroyed. They were killed in gulags. They were persecuted, and instead of the true priests, the true nuns, true monks, those that build the churches, take care of the faith, they were sent to gulags. They were killed simply. No, and instead of them, their KGB agents have replaced into confessionaries, into all the structure. For example, when I was a child and baptized in Zaporizhia, we have a Russian Orthodox Church, so my parents brought me to be baptized, but there were spies right by the doors of the church, and immediately, a second day after my baptism, my parents were called to the office, to the party office, and they were asked the question, "Did you baptize your daughter yesterday? Why did you do this?" And they were really persecuting my parents for baptizing me. So they were there just to make sure that Christians who want to baptize their children will be catched. They will be rediscovered. That was forbidden. Faith was forbidden, but outside in the United States, it looked like churches were open and faith was practiced. And I think people in the United States, especially in conservative circles, really still believe that Russian Orthodox Church is a real and authentic. But in fact, it has nothing about the faith. It's all about KGB agency. If you would research and see who was patriarch of Moscow Patriarchate Church, you would discover that he's a former KGB agent. So the problem is that right now, especially after full invasion of Russia in Ukraine, we discovered that was a big propaganda that was happening right within to our Ukrainian people, and a lot of Russian military and military equipment were stored right inside of the churches. So within the heart of our country, something so tangible as a faith and faith that people haven't got. They're trying to substitute that and propagate that, against our Ukrainian, our nation practically, our faith, true faith in God, our language, and everything that has to do with what Ukraine is. So there is a place for freedom of religion, but there's no place for KGB agency. There's no place absolutely for anyone who persecutes my people, my country, and those who are there to kill civil people, children, men and women who occupied our territory. So there's absolutely no place for such in my country.
Listen, I saw a few articles in mass media in the US that really in Ukraine we persecute some Russian church, and they think that this is a good Orthodox church and we are like persecutors. We are now in the International Religion Freedom Summit, and I can just imagine if a Russian church would come here, they would, everybody would say, "Oh, poor Russian church, they are persecuted in Ukraine." But how to explain to Americans, to conservative people that in Ukraine, Orthodox Russian Church is a KGB. They are Russian propaganda is inside Ukraine. Do Americans understand this or not? And how to explain them?
I think those that would do just a slight research, even slightest research, will understand that this is a very, very heavy situation, no? Because we still have problem with KGB agency. No, the KGB agency is present everywhere in all former Soviet Union countries, and especially the easiest way to control people, it is through church. Because that's where people is very tangible. You know, they come to reveal their heart, reveal their soul. So, and if you would go to Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine, you will see these grandmothers, you know, who believe that Vladimir Putin is the emperor. You know, they will ask them the question, and they say, yes, this is the only true faith. There is no other, absolutely. You know, we must follow the leader, and he's sent by God. You know, that's majority of people in Russia believe, right?
Yeah.
So, but I have to say, many Ukrainian priests who were Russian Orthodox priests, they right now actually reestablish themselves, and they become Ukrainian Orthodox Church. You know, so the good thing that we have defense of the Patriarch of Constantinople. You know, so the Patriarch Bartholomew, he is himself spoken about Russian Orthodox Church, and so I think this is the great. This is where we need to search for that root. You know, yes. We are for the freedom. Everybody can have faith and practice faith, but we do not have absolutely tolerance for the persecutors and the ones who kill innocent people. So.
Yeah, I'm from Kiev, from Ukraine, from Ukrainian church. I go to Orthodox Church, and one time I decided to go to Moscow Patriarchate Church. And I was really shocked that some priest is talking Russian, of course, with this grandmothers around him, and he's explaining that this war in Ukraine is a war for a true religion, and Ukrainian religion is not true, and you need to fight and to understand that Putin is sending bombs to Ukraine because God told him. But this is completely insane, because Orthodox Church in Ukraine is praying for Ukrainian people, for Ukrainian soldiers, and the Russian Church is making Russian propaganda. So I was really shocked, and I think that American people need to know that Ukrainian Church is real church, but Russian Church in Ukraine is Russian propaganda just inside our country. And today we have more than 8,000 churches of Russian Orthodox Church, and of course it's a crazy situation. Valia, tell me please, why it is so important to talk about church at all? Yeah, with Americans, with conservative people in America, is it really important for Ukraine to win the war?
Absolutely, because since we become independent in 1991, that's where the freedom, and I have to say, we have never been free. We yet have never been free. We always have been tied with a silk thread to the red dragon's tail, always. You know, so we were always watched really carefully. We were always been making sure that we are tied just enough that we will never let go. You know, that they will never let us go. So, and always will have a control over us. So what I see right now, especially with the experience of our soldiers in the front lines and the doctors that particularly I work with, you know, how they say, yes, really God exists. You know, God exists. We do not know where to turn yet, but I know that I have experienced Him right there in the trenches, right there in the hospital, right there on the surgery table, and they share the stories, you know, like how literally person who have no faith but feels that God has guided their hand to do this and that particular surgery, or this man, this soldier was in a trench, and they say the missile arrived like 5 centimeters away, you know, from me, and how that I'm still alive. So I see that people in my country are becoming to be much more freer to talk about faith, because during the Soviet Union time it was forbidden. Nobody was allowed to talk. It was persecuted. You were lunatic, you were crazy if you spoke about God. Remember, Lenin was the one who said that religion is an opium for the world, that this is the way how they control you. But we want to destroy the church. We want to destroy this the idea about God, no? Because during the Soviet Union time, it was everything was changing. No? The people were becoming to be the ones who will build the country, and they will follow the leader. All you need to do is just to follow the leader. So many young people, which important also. First World War, many young people were left without parents and grandparents. They left without guidance. They left without somebody to tell them about faith, not to somebody who would show them, that how, to teach them a prayer. My grandmother, thankfully, she gave me the biggest inheritance that I have in my life. She gave me something that would sprout my faith. She taught me how to say the Our Father prayer. She said, in case God exists, you need to know this prayer. She said, when it's going to be so hard for you in your life, you pray this prayer, and if God exists, He will help you. She didn't believe herself, but her grandmother taught her, and she taught her, make sure that you will never say that you know this prayer. It was forbidden, no? But there was I was 7 years old, and she called me to her room, and she had a beautiful icon of Our Lady holding Jesus, and she said, Valentyna, I must teach you this prayer. And when I came to United States, when I was an immigrant, I was very young, I was 18 years old, and it was very hard for me, extremely hard. I didn't speak any English at all, so I remember what my grandmother taught me, and I prayed the Our Father really naively, but really just had absolutely no faith at that time. I grew up as a just really, really super regular young woman in Zaporizhia, the city without God. In fact, I don't know if you know this fact, that Lenin wanted to build the city without God, something very similar to Nowa Huta in Poland, that was declaring that this is going to be the city without God. So that was meant to be Zaporizhia. Infrastructure, everything must have spoken that we don't believe in such a nonsense. Lenin died, Stalin has fulfilled that. They made sure that this is going to be city without God. In fact, so my conversion started through the Our Father prayer. And so for me, in my life, God entered as a father. I don't know Him any other way. I don't know Him as idea or spirit or anything that impersonal. To me, He's my Father. Especially, I grew up without the Father. So I become to see His providence in my life. I become to understand that He's very near and He loves me. That was it. That was it for my beginning. And that's how my mission started, Chalice of Mercy. And imagine then I found out that in my city, in Zaporizhia, the city without God, the church, the Catholic Church, was built dedicated to God the Father. The first church in the world dedicated to God the Father. And yet we pray Our Father. We don't pray Our God. Jesus' mission was to teach us that we have a Father. Throughout the Gospels, He's speaking to us about the Father all the time. So now I'm coming really sharing something very deeply. But my mission started because I wanted to help my people to understand that He's a loving Father, merciful and loving Father. Because my people are afraid of God. They think of Him as a judge. And that's the fruit of Russian Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
He sees you, He will judge you. You must be punished. You must go. You will be in hell if you don't convert. That's the style. Which
the Russian Church.
Russian Church. Yeah. That's you. You must be. You must be penitential. You must. You go, like, for example, to any, like, for example, monastery, Russian Orthodox monastery, you experience the beauty in some way of the building, but when you begin to actually dive into the theology itself, is really, it's lost its original root, you know.
Listen, we need today help of US for Ukraine, yeah, because we have no certainty. We are uncertain that USA soon will give us as much help as we need. But without America, we cannot win this war. So, what do you think? What we can do to help to Americans to make a decision faster and more and unstoppably to help Ukraine?
So I live in the United States for 22 years now. That's more than I lived in my country.
Yeah.
And I'm a citizen of the United States. So as a person that lives in the United States, I should say that I see that United States is changing many things in defending life, defending marriage, defending education about what marriage is, what life within the womb is, you know. So, and America is about 60% conservative people. And even those that were liberal before, they see where country is heading. They pairing rather with conservatives with this new election than with liberals, because they are tired and exhausted to see young people who are so confused that they don't know who they are at all anymore. Not only if they are men and a woman, but they're in psychological state and such that. So imagine, for example, the research was done from LGBT community. No, LGBT community, about 75% of these young men and women are at suicidal state. So therefore, they discover that if I am a woman who wants to be a man, that doesn't satisfy, right? So they try, they try to live and to try to live in such a way, their sexual life, They discover that something is that void is still there. It did not fulfill what they were, yearning for. So anyway, in America changing in that particular way. And I think that with this new election, I do think that former president of the United States will become president again, Donald Trump. So he will become, because a lot of people are supporting him, and it's obvious. But so he wants to bring America back to be led by the people, right? America, how it was found. It was found beautiful, on a freedom of religion, on a freedom to be able to express, on a to be able to speak, to be able to basically made of America everything. Before we know the jeans from made of America was cool. Now it's all made of China. So he wants to bring back businesses. He wants to bring back Ukrainian America great again. But this is the problem for Ukraine, because the problem for Ukraine that many conservatives are convinced that Ukraine is not a conservative country, that they don't understand why they have to support a country that is following liberal views.
But it's not true. We are a conservative country. We have many people who believe in God, religious people, and with conservative values.
Yes, values and views. Yes, exactly. But Russian propaganda played its role, because they needed to choose the camp, which camp. So they see the liberals are supporting the government of the United States with pro-liberal values. They are supporting their country, and of course they are pushing their agenda, right? Agenda, which is, let's say, against a human life from the moment of conception until the natural death. We're talking about starting with abortion and contraception and in vitro fertilization and euthanasia and everything that is all kinds of ways that is they propagate sexual behavior. That's not only men and women, women and women, men and man. There's all kinds of ways right now is saying it's okay for you to do whatever you want.
But really, in Ukraine, it's not like this. We are really conservative.
So I have somebody who traveled in June, month of June. I organized a summit. The summit was Ukraine Life Dignity Victory. And so I invited a friend coming from United States. His name is Jason Jones. He's really well known in the United States. He's a president of a non-profit organization, Vulnerable People Project. Okay. So he does a lot of work all over the world, and so he helped also Ukraine a lot. And so before he came to the summit, he was convinced that he's going to see LGBT flag on every corner. No,
but it's not true at all.
When he came, he was so shocked. He said, "Well, obviously, it was the only flag we saw. It was on the roof of Canadian embassy, you know."
So let's ask him in person. Did he really think like this?
Yeah, we need to catch him, find him. He's here somewhere, so
let's go find him.
Yeah.